Good evening, team, and welcome back to another episode of Comfort in Chaos, in which you have myself, that senior leader in the military, providing that in perspective and giving my experiences in how I seek that comfort in the chaos and the chaos that we endure every day. Every day, every single one of us is engaging in some type of chaos. And as you know, this is my dedicated platform where I only address that, engage that. Uh, Looking forward to speaking and engaging with some of you guys and some other people who I have had in my life through experiences that I have learned from, because in the end, that's what we're really here for, is to learn from each other. Now, if you guys like this, hey, definitely please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. It's free, but the support definitely goes a long way and it is very much appreciated. It definitely helps spread the word, and it helps grow the team and just grow the knowledge and the learning points, from both sides. Both sides. So let's see where to begin. All right, the V word. I'm sure a lot of you probably thinking, what is that? But the V word, let's just put it this way, has been a form of chaos that I have constantly battled with for years now. And it has been a form of chaos that has also had, you know, has not really led to anything great. When you kind of do a little what we call an after action review, and you do an after action review on my life, or certain experiences or results, you start to kind of identify what were the improves, what could I improved on, and I've learned to do that a lot lately, and I encourage you guys to definitely engage in that yourself, you know. But the V word, so the V word to me is vulnerability. Vulnerability, gosh, I swear that's not a word that just goes lightly, you know. It's a word that has a lot of meaning. It is definitely a word that has a lot of uh, side effects, let's say. You know, some are good, some are definitely good. In fact, most are good. Uh, but from my experience, that has been a form of chaos that I have constantly battled with, especially being a senior leader in the military. Just daily engagements and interactions, experiences, past experiences, in my friendships, in my family relationships, and even in my relationships as a whole. I have always struggled, and I'm personally opening up here to you guys, but I've always struggled with the V word, vulnerability. In the military, we're taught to engage, kill, be a fighter, mission first, never quit, never surrender, never accept defeat. But a lot of that, not that that's wrong, and I thank God, for my choice to join the military and what has turned me into, and experiences that I have endured, uh, knowledge that I've gained, learning points. Every day I'm trying to learn something new. But as you guys remember in the last episode, self evaluation, along with that self evaluation, I was able to assess that I personally struggle with the V word, vulnerability. It's a tough one for me. I'll openly admit that, and always has been. And because of that, it is always it's never really led to anything good, as a result. I've had some incredible people in my life that I have now are no longer in my life, or those relationships have been compromised because of the fact that I just couldn't allow myself to be vulnerable, and I try to always handle things in my own way. And I feel like this is something that needs to be addressed because I feel like that form of chaos is not something that not only I'm going through, I figured even some of you guys out there are currently going through that, you know, currently going through or we've gone through some bad experiences that we tend to just close ourselves off on, and shut ourselves down. But without making ourselves vulnerable, and I'm speaking only in the sense of what I have learned, without making yourself vulnerable, you tend to miss out. You tend to miss out on certain opportunities. You tend to miss out on just a whole new adventure in life that could have been dictated and could have been laid out and spread out for you if you just allowed yourself to be vulnerable. That is something that I know I've struggled with, you know, in the military community, especially in the veteran community. I've worked with a lot of stellar soldiers, a lot of good leaders, a lot of good leaders. And it's a sensitive topic to me because I've seen a lot of them struggle on the outside, when it comes to transitioning or just accepting a new way of life that is no longer task and purpose. And now they have to make themselves vulnerable to a whole new world, a whole new world, a new skill set, new jobs, a whole familiarization that has totally changed from what they have known. And a lot of it is because I firmly believe a lot of the struggle comes from we just don't like to allow ourselves to be vulnerable, you know, in the veteran, and I'm speaking from amongst the veteran community because that's the one I can relate to the most. But we don't allow ourselves to be vulnerable because we are trained to protect and mitigate our vulnerabilities. Identify your vulnerability and have a plan for it. Have that worst case scenario plan. But the hard thing is sometimes we just don't know when to shut it off. I know me personally, for the longest time, I've struggled with that because I just didn't know how to shut it off, and it has costed. I've definitely paid a price. I've definitely paid a price. And you know what? I'm still learning. And this is not something that you can just do off a flip of a switch. You know, Vulnerability. I mean, it's a tough one. It really is a tough one, especially nowadays. I would say, especially nowadays, because it's too easy to just isolate. It's too easy to isolate. It's too easy to you got social media where you got all these comparisons that you're going to compare everything to, and if that is like the new standard, and if you're not there, then you're just going to accept that, and you're just going to isolate, and let those negative thoughts just kind of embed themselves. But that's not that's not the right way to approach it. Comparisons is not comparison to others, especially on social media, is not it's not the way to go. I can definitely tell you that it's not the way to go. And it's very hard because we live in a very social media driven world now. Excuse me, guys. As you know, I just finished the pre-workout, so it's settling in. But as I was, yeah, we live in a very social media driven world that can cause a lot of stress on all of us, you know? It causes a lot of just can channel our thoughts and our mindset towards a whole different avenue. But it's a form of chaos that I know we all can get through, and I'm sure a lot of you have already continued to engage this in your own way, shape and form. But vulnerability is definitely a stepping stone towards just making yourself a better person. You know, I strive to learn from my mistakes, and self-evaluation, like I referenced in the last episode, is one of those steps that I take towards learning. Whether it was a bad call, off a financial investment, a relationship that didn't go well, or some family ties, or something didn't go well on the job, you know, you can assess that by some self-evaluation. Identify what went well and identify what you can improve on. And a lot of that is pointed to myself whenever I self-evaluate. But the V word vulnerability, gosh, that has been a strong one for me. I can honestly admit, guys, I can honestly admit vulnerability has always been it's hard for me to just I would feel like I have to put myself out there, you know, and we don't want to be disappointed. We don't want to be hurt. You don't want to fail. So what did I do? I would just close myself off. I would. But what I learned is it's not healthy. It's it's not healthy. And it keeps you from one, exploring a whole new avenue of being a better version of yourself. Um, and it also keeps you from obtaining new opportunities, new results, a whole new outcome that could have been explored if you just made yourself vulnerable, you know. So I would like to know definitely if you guys have experienced anything of this nature. Vulnerability is a big word and it is a big one for all of us. I can definitely admit that. I know if it's big for me, it's got to be something that you guys have obviously learned from and gained some knowledge from, and which, hey, by all means, comment down below. Let me know. Let me know because I'm curious. I'm curious. And if you got tips and pointers, I would love to learn. I would love to learn. But vulnerability has definitely been a tough one for me, you know. But I love the fact that I'm able now to identify it. I'm able now to communicate it in this form, and this is probably the most extreme form, it's almost therapeutic for me, but I'm able to communicate it because it's like putting it out there, you know, putting out my failures and my mishaps out there as ways for me using them as learning points now, and of course accountability. Once you put it out here, you're making yourself accountable now, and we'll get into accountability as another topic later on, but a big form of chaos for me, team, has always been one of them has been vulnerability, the V word. Yeah. So learning points, is when it comes to vulnerability, I have been striving and seeking comfort in that form of chaos by not holding back, you know, when I'm engaging with people now, I definitely am more transparent because I used to kind of always hold things inside. I used to hold thoughts, ideas, decisions. I used to hold that in because if I would express them, it'd be a way of me being vulnerable. You know, I used to close myself off emotionally because I have gone through so many bad experiences and just some dark places that I just did not want to go through those again. And so I would then close myself off and I wouldn't let myself be vulnerable. And I've paid the price. I've paid the price. And I hope it's not too late for any of you. I hope that by me coming on here and talking about this, it's a learning point that you can take so that whatever I experience, you don't have to, you know, you don't have to learn from someone like me. I would encourage that. I don't want anyone to have to go through situations or experiences that I had to endure just because of simple decisions, that could have been simply made and executed. And vulnerability has been a tough one for me. I can definitely admit. And it is a form of chaos that I still battle till this day. But I feel because of the self-evaluation I apply on myself now, the learning points, the failures that I have experienced, actions and behaviors that I used to basically do because I didn't want to make myself vulnerable. So I'm approaching it from a different angle now. I definitely approach it now from a different angle and I carry it even now to my team here, to my soldiers, to the job, to my family, to relationships now that I engage in, friendships, etc., etc., etc. I really am focused on now being a little bit more vulnerable. You know, don't and the main takeaway is don't be afraid to take that initial step. You don't have to go all the way in now. You don't have to go all the way in, but don't be afraid to take those initial steps towards making yourself more vulnerable. Open up, be honest. Start with that. To me, that's like the biggest one. I started with just being honest, being transparent. You know, and if the result isn't what you expected, well, then you know what? Guess what? Then that's not someone for your circle. You know, you wanna find that circle and take care of your circle and grow in that circle, and that's who you want to surround yourself with. You know, my father once told me as advice: always keep people in your life that are going to help you move forward. Don't keep people in your life that are going to bring you backwards in life. You always want to maintain a progressive state. So surround yourself with individuals who are just going to help you move forward in life. Be there to support you, aid you, advise you, assist you, and just move forward. So if you do have any of those people, I would encourage you, make sure to send them Christmas cards. Keep them. Those are the ones you send your Christmas cards to. Okay. But yeah, take care of your circles, team. Take care of your circles. But the main message today, guys, we'll start wrapping up, but is don't be afraid to be vulnerable. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable. And learn, assess, learn, and don't be afraid to be vulnerable. Take another leap. You never know what adventure or what course of action in your life it's going to dictate to if you just do that. If you just do that, learn from me, learn from my mistakes. I will tell you that. Learn from me, learn from my mistakes. Okay. If you guys have any other forms of chaos or concerns or concerns or any other topic or special words that have meanings that you think would apply towards this platform, please make sure to comment down below. Let me know. Let me know. Because if I can't learn from you, and if we can't learn from each other and as a team, then we're not going to be as effective as we truly can be, and you're as effective as your left and right. In my line of work, you are. And I believe strongly that that is still instilled even in the civilian world, and that's why. And that's one of the main reasons why I do this, team, is because there's so many attributes and experiences and skill sets that I have learned through my time in the military as a senior leader, and I'm continuing to grow. I'm continuing to just forge, and I'm not one to keep that to myself. I definitely am one to share that, you know. So once again, team, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you tuning in. And I appreciate any input and support you guys want to throw my way. I definitely appreciate that. Comment down below what you guys like me to address next. I'll look forward to that. And hey, even if you got something you want to chime in about, let me know. I may pull you in here. I may pull you in and we can have a conversation. Because if we can't learn from each other, team, then there's something wrong. There's something wrong. All right. So remember, main takeaways, team, all right, is to don't be afraid to be vulnerable. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable. Don't be afraid to take that step. All right. Because either way, even if we fail, we learn something. If we succeed, we learn something. But you know what we can't learn from? It's quitting. All right. It's quitting. We can learn from failure, but we can't learn from quitting. All right, team. All right. Hey, thank you guys all so much. My pre-workout's kicking in. I'll see you guys on the next episode. Thank you for your time. And hey, continue mission, guys. Have a blessed week. I'll see you on the next one.